Hi, I'm Josh Ibarra, and this is my Module 12, Tort Law for EDL 850. Okay. So, tort law is basically negligence. So here's just the definition: a wrong that is committed by someone who is legally obligated to provide a certain amount of carefulness in behavior to another, and that causes injury to that person who may seek compensation in a civil suit for damages. So, um, anytime somebody is at fault because of not being careful or being negligent, the person who gets hurt can then sue in a civil suit and receive money or compensation or whatever you want to call it for any bills or whatever damage may be caused. The first case I have here is one dealing with first graders. So there's a quick brief summary there. First grade student breaks open head in a bookcase while playing London Bridges. Music class. The music teacher introduced the game with the song. So the teacher taught them the song and then taught them the game to go along with it. And if anybody, or you haven't ever played it, two kids lock arms, the third kid basically is inside your arms, and you rock them back and forth as you sing. Well, the teacher had told him, you can't be messing around, you can't go crazy with this. You've got to, you got to be careful with this. And she actually saw the kids start, and the two kids locked arms. The third kid was inside the kid's arms, and but then she turned to help some other students. According to the students, she was writing on the chalkboard. Next thing she knew, the kid had flown into the bookshelf and busted his head open. He ended up needing like 50 stitches. It was cut down to the bone, opened up the muscle pretty good. So it was a pretty good cut. So the student's mother, her parents, sued, and they were awarded financial benefits for medical reasons, as well as disfigurement pay. So I think it was like $15,000 for disfigurement, $5,000 for pain and suffering, and then for the medical stuff, it was, I can't remember, $1,500 or something like that. But it was kind of a situation where the teacher probably had more students than she could supervise all at once, especially playing something like that. I get where the teacher was probably trying to make this song fun and memorable. And, when you're dealing with first graders, maybe having them lock arms and swing each other back and forth isn't the best idea. So reactive measures, maybe wait until the kids are older to play the game. Maybe just teach the song. Proactive, lay a mat down. If that's a possibility, usually gyms have like tumbling mats or something that you can use. Only let one group play at a time while everybody else sings. I think that would alleviate. Then you can watch, you can be there to help, kind of in a sense, spot and make sure that nobody gets hurt. As far as professional measures, be upfront and honest in the investigation. And parents are typically easier if you are completely honest with them. And I don't know that the teacher did anything as far as not being honest. I think in those situations, if a suit is brought on you, you're probably told to just keep your mouth shut. So I don't think that she did anything wrong in that regard. But you want to be honest if they come and ask you, hey, yeah, your kid got hurt. It was something, we were playing a game, maybe, and I turned my back for a second, and your son got hurt. So. But anyway, I think just understanding that maybe a bunch of first graders playing that game is not the best idea is probably the big thing here. The next one is actually a case from 1998 here in Kansas, and it deals with a high school football player basically dying of a heat-related illness. So I am the head football coach here at Medicine Lodge, and heat-related illness is a big deal. So this was something that kind of hit home with me here. But anyway, it breaks down. Senior football player collapses after practice from heat exhaustion and then dies the next day. And the mother sues the school for negligence. So, first day of practice. So this is mid-August, I think August 17th in 1998. And it was they started practice at 8 o'clock that morning. It was 83 degrees. I'm sure relatively humid being in Wichita. Um, and so they started practice. They knew, the coaches knew about the heat-related illness stuff. The coach had a talk with the AD, who had been told by, it had been recommended by KSHA, Kansas State High School Activities Association, that they have this discussion. They had the discussion. Um, and it sounds to me like the coach was being pretty good. So they started at 8 o'clock. They had no pads on, just helmets only, which is pretty typical. That first day started in the morning. They were going like 20 minutes. For every 20 minutes of practice, they were having a 5-minute water break. And that's that's a pretty good deal. At 83 degrees, depending on the humidity, your heat index is what you have to look at. And now Acacia has that posted on their um, website. So you can type in the temperature and you can type in the humidity and it'll give you the heat index. And depending on the heat index, it tells you how long you can go before you give breaks. It tells you whether or not you're supposed to practice with pads or whatever. It sounds to me like the coaches are doing a pretty good job giving them water breaks, and they went for 2 hours. And then at 10, they took a 45-minute break. They came back. They started practice again. They went into circuit conditioning, and it was like 4 minutes per station. And then they would get a 2-minute break, and then they'd go 4 minutes again. The kids started feeling bad during these sessions, and the first time he notified the coach told him to go get a drink. The head coach saw that and said, "Hey, is everything okay?" Told somebody to go check on him or said something about checking on him. The kid came back and got into the drills, complained about not feeling well again. The next coach told him to stay out of the drills. Told him to go get a drink. Next thing you knew, he just kept coming back. Practice got over, and he collapsed. The ambulance took him to the hospital, and he passed away the next day. So, court rules in favor of the family, puts more rules in place for heat-related illness. So, as far as reactive measures, practice at cooler times. So instead of going at 8, go at 6 a.m. At this time of the year, especially if you're going to do a majority of conditioning, you don't really need a whole lot of sunlight, so you can go earlier. We usually try and get in early. Proactive measures allow for more than 45 minutes of rest after that first session. It's going to be tough on kids, especially kids who haven't prepared. And I know in 1998, summer conditioning programs probably weren't as popular as they are now. But with that heat index, you've really got to be careful. And then as far as professional measures, once again, be up and certain about the new statewide heat illness and related or heat and illness standards and follow the protocol. There is so much now. We have to watch videos with the kids dealing with concussions and heat related illness before we ever step foot on the field now. So, matter of fact, I'm also the head basketball coach. We have to watch those same videos for basketball as well, so the kids are up to par on what it is. If I'm feeling this way, this is a symptom. So anyway, know that stuff. Check your heat index. Plenty of water breaks. I know at the beginning of this football season we were having to go, less pads on days when we could have been in full pads. We were having to go shorter spans before water breaks. We were having to go. Now they recommend having cold tubs on the sidelines of games and at practice. That way, if a kid is overheated, you can get them in that cold tub and get their body temperature down. The kids have to watch those videos, and they have to sign a paper saying they did watch those videos, or else your school, once again, will be in trouble if anything happens. I feel like these coaches, especially in 1998, not knowing as much as we do now, we're doing a pretty decent job. And that's a tough spot to be in. And I can't imagine how those coaches felt and how that family felt. That's a tough spot for everybody. But it's one of those things you've really got to be up to par on everything, up to date on everything you're doing. The last one. So the mother of a special education student sued the school district for damages the student sustained in an after-hours off-campus sexual assault by another student. I put after hours, but really it's not after hours. You had a special education student, freshman, I believe, who was dating a senior who was 19, and her and her friend decided to ditch school. They met up with him. Her friend was also a special education student, special education student. All three of them actually were. They were going to walk to his house. They were there or they ended up getting a ride from one of his friends. And then they walked over to another house, I think, and another one of his friends. He ended up assaulting her, even though they were dating. He sexually assaulted her while his buddy was shooting at her with a BB gun from a window or something like that. It's kind of a weird situation. But this all happened during the actual school hours. The girl had called her mom and asked if she could ride the bus to her friend's house after school. Well, she didn't do that. She left after fifth hour to go meet up with her boyfriend with her friend. Um, the school usually was on top of things with the unexcused absences. This particular time they were not, apparently. Well, actually, the automated system would call after school was out, so school wasn't actually out yet. The mom never got the call. She finally found out about it because one of the friends called and said that the girl had left her backpack in the car. So anyway, long story short, they sued the school. The kid pled guilty. Part of the issue was he was 19 and she was like 14 or 15 or something like that. But the jury found the school district negligent in failing to adequately supervise a special education student and awarded damages. Reactive measures allow parents of special needs children to attend for more supervision. So if the school is understaffed, maybe let them know or that they can be there. I don't know. I have a hard time with this particular case, but proactive measures, find more supervision, keep the students busy so that less opportunity for bad behavior. And then professional measures, educate the kids about abuse and violence and make them realize the lifelong effects. This is another one where I feel like the school, I don't know. A lot was said about the paras that were in charge of these kids not being more proactive, but if they have other students, it's hard for them to do all that. Also, the school has that particular thing in place to call, but it's at the end of the day. So if a kid ditches school in the middle of the day, even if the tardies are taken, the way we have it, if a kid is missing, yeah, we do call. We don't have the automated system. But I don't know. I think they found that it was 70% the school's fault and 30% the girl's fault. So it's crazy. I think you have to do your due diligence. You have to be on top of things. If you are not, they will find a way to pin it on the school. And I'm not saying the school wasn't at fault here in some way, shape, or form, but this one and the football one, the last one I dealt with, I feel like in both instances, with the football one, I felt like the coaches were doing a decent job. I mean, a pretty good job of watching this kid. They weren't making fun of him. They weren't calling him names. They weren't forcing him to be in the drills. It was just an unfortunate incident. With this situation here, yes, maybe the school could have contacted the parents right away when they found out the girl didn't make it to sixth hour. But once again, if you're dealing with, I don't know how big the school was, but if you're dealing with a lot of students, sometimes things get overlooked. So do your due diligence and make sure you're not overlooking things, I guess is the big thing. So anyway, thank you.